ex-military.
If you what?
They didn't shoot at me, I was teaching electronics. No.
What?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. I'm Laura Anderson, the worship associate this morning. I am a cisgender 66-year-old short, curvy woman. My pronouns are she and her. Last week, I had silver hair with purple streaks. This morning, I have purple hair. I had silver hair with purple streaks. This week, I have purple hair with silver streaks. I have purple wire-rimmed glasses, and I'm wearing a black shirt and a purple and black and white jacket. I should note that I am not Kay, who was scheduled to be the worship associate, and I thank Kay for providing the script for us this morning. I welcome all of you to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, or UUFCC. We are glad you have chosen to be with us this morning, whether you are here in the sanctuary or with us on YouTube. We are here with music, thanks to Jim and the choir, and all of us can hear better thanks to our new sound system, run so expertly by Tom and Corey. Our surroundings are made more beautiful by all who work both on the outside grounds and inside the building. There are many people who make the work of this fellowship possible. Thank you to all. You are aware that there have been an alarmingly high number of COVID cases here at the fellowship, and cases of both flu and COVID are rapidly increasing. We ask that you continue to be vigilant. Please wear a mask in the building. There are some out in the hallway if you need one. And be be aware of your distance between people. 6 feet is still recommended. A quick reminder to those of you at home to have your chalice or candle ready for the chalice lighting. The Reverend Dr. Matthew Johnson of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Rockford gives us these words of welcome today from the Peace for 5,000 years or more. We gather this morning to make sense of ourselves and this universe in which we live as best we are able. And we call ourselves to worship together, and we invoke the power and wonder of life itself, that to which all the spirits of animals and memories of heroes pointed the way. We invoke that power which is, we know, always around, always with us, but which we sometimes forget about. We forget that we are part of the whole of creation. We forget that we are stardust. We forget that we are capable of miracles, first among them that we can love. We forget these things, so we invoke the power of existence so that we can remember. We can lift our eyes and open our ears to the true and the beautiful. For 5,000 years or more, we have done this. In many tongues, in many ways, we have done this. And so we continue that ancient tradition in our time and in our way, and so let us now worship together. The chalice lighting words this morning are by Reverend Scott Taylor. Before the world told us who it wanted us to be, may the light we now kindle and the time we now share anchor us to that inner flame, that sacred center, which helps us remember who we were before the world told us who it wanted us to be. May our times together clear the way for those memories and voices and friends that lead us home. I now invite Linda to come forward and light the chalice in the sanctuary. If you are at home, you can light your chalice with us. Please join me in the affirmation as printed in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you, Linda. We will now have the prelude from Jim. Thank you, Jim. Lovely and impressive as always. Our opening words this morning are by Leslie Honoré, poet, activist, and author of Fist and Fire. I wish you love, kindness, understanding. I wish you abundance, that you will always have more than enough, more than you need, so you can be generous of heart and spirit. I wish you peace, the kind that washes over your entire being like cool waves on a warm shore. Peace, knowing that the distance is intentional, the endings for a purpose. I wish you the peace that comes from honoring yourself. I wish you acceptance of your past, your failures, your successes, your body, mind, and soul. I wish you family that endures, friendships as close as genes. I wish you a village linked and strong. I wish you a voice that speaks even when it shakes, that announces dreams even if it has to whisper. I wish you the magic of manifestations of ancestors wrapping you in light, of the God in you ordering your steps, carving out destiny. I wish you healing of old wounds, of loves, of habits, cycles broken. I wish you music, art, poetry, dance. I wish you language for your soul. I wish you power that empowers the powerless. I wish you boldness, fearfulness. I wish you empathy. I wish you epiphanies, enlightenment, ascension. I wish you joyful new beginnings, fresh new chapters, strength to start over again. I wish you a happy new year. Please rise, embody your spirit, and join the choir in singing number 1015 in the Teal hymnal, I Know I Can. We will sing verses 1, 2, and 4. We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Book of Life. If you are here in person, the book is located at the back of the sanctuary. And if you are not here, you may email your joys, sorrows, and personal milestones to bookoflife@uufcc.org. During the Sunday morning service, following the receipt of your message, the worship associate will read your words to the congregation. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. I will share the joys, sorrows, and milestones that we have received this week. After I've completed reading, we will maintain several moments of silence. We'll return to sing hymn 151, in the gray hymnal, I Wish I Knew How by Jeannie Gagne. Please join me this morning in sending healing thoughts to Kay, who is home with COVID.
And Mona.
And Mona. Fred Parmenter writes, our home is filled with sadness this week at the passing of our cat Ellie. Each morning, Ellie would jump up on our bed, snuggle next to Dorothy, and wait. Nothing really special, but a joy given and a joy received. During Ellie's sickness, Dorothy stayed by her side, held her, talked to her, and tried to explain what was happening. Ellie would listen and look up as if to say, I'm okay, you'll be okay too. A bond between them that ended all too soon. This is unfair, Fred. At the end, in Dorothy's arms, Ellie peeked out of her blanket, looked up, took one long final look at Dorothy, laid her head down in Dorothy's lap, and gently left us. Robert Moran says, my son Bobby died on this day in 1997. January 8th was also his birthday. He was 33 years old. May we appreciate the love that we have when we have it. And may we provide comfort to those who have losses, whether they're in the Red Book or not. I know that many of you have challenges and have suffered losses, and we hold you all dearly and hope that you can find comfort here in our community. Hymn 151 in the gray hymnal.
I wish I could break
This morning, we are fortunate to have Linda Lusk join us. You might recall that a little storm named Ian caused us to cancel our service early in October. In fact, it was the second Sunday of October, and we were going to hear from C.A.R.E. So this service is highly anticipated. Linda is very pleased to call Punta Gorda home after growing up a military brat. Linda lived in Orlando when it was a small town and has always considered Florida her home. She graduated from Rollins College in Winter Park and started a career in telecommunications with Winter Park Telephone Company, which joined with United Telephone and later became Sprint. Linda developed her professional expertise in human resources and corporate training. After 37 years, Linda retired early, spending time traveling, building her iTunes account, reading, and quilting for 3 years before she became restless. Linda volunteered as a board member with the Center for Abuse and Rape Emergencies, Inc., C.A.R.E., in 1996, and served as board chair from 2003 until her resignation in 2011. Linda accepted the position of Chief Advancement Officer with C.A.R.E. to focus on planned giving and sustainability of funding for the agency's programs and services. Topics she speaks about are eliminating gender violence and outreach and prevention education to eliminate violence in our community. Linda?
Thank you all very much. It's very nice to be here again. I think it was 2018 the last time I visited here. So we are getting ready to celebrate our 40th anniversary in our county with C.A.R.E. next year. That's good and bad. It's a shame that we need our services, but we are very happy to be here to provide the services because we help victims of violence. We help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and victims of other violent crimes. And we do serve our Charlotte County community, and that is our limitation. Most of the counties in the state of Florida have facilities like ours. Now, we are an organization that helps all victims of violence. So many people think that our services are only for women. That is not the case. We help anyone who is a victim. And we also have families that are residing with us temporarily in our shelter. Now, we do not provide direct services for children. We're adults 18 and over, but we do connect with the Department of Children and Families who provide services for the children, and we take care of them with their family in our residence hall. We had a really tough time right around the storm, like everyone. We were struggling to try to decide where in Florida we were going to send the residents of our facility so they would be safe. So we did get that done, and within just over a week we were able to bring them back. We did sustain some minor damages, but it's all workable, and it'll be fixed someday, like we're all dealing with. The stresses of life. But we were thrilled to be able to bring our folks home, and those who were working, they were able to go back to their jobs, and all of that worked out well. So the initial connection for us with an individual is to have them typically call us at our hotline and let us know that they need help. The kind of job that our advocates do, whether they're a staff member or a volunteer, they're all trained the same. And they are trained to do what we call a lethality assessment. They determine if a person is in immediate crisis when they call in. Do they need to call 911 for help from law enforcement? Or are they in a situation where they can begin to have a conversation with our advocate to determine what is going to be happening with them? Now, I thought I would talk about today some of the things that frustrate me with the public in general and their understanding of violence and victims. And the resource that I'm using is a book called Why Does He Do That? It is an excellent book written by Lundy Bancroft. He's worked with abusers for about 30 years. And it is a very, very informative book in that it helps you understand the mindset of individuals who abuse. Now, the majority of victims are female. The majority of abusers are male. Fortunately, the majority of men in our world are not abusers. That's the good news. But there is a small group of people. Women do abuse also. Same-sex couples experience abuse. So it is a universal problem. Now, one of the most frustrating things is it's very difficult, and I don't know why, but many people don't want to believe a victim's story when the individual says they're abused. This is particularly true when it comes to sexual assault and rape. Why people would lie about something like that, I really don't know, because it's a very painful, it's a very uncomfortable, it's a very shameful situation for many of these individuals. Many victims of abuse do not see themselves as victims. They feel it's their fault. They feel they are to blame, and they have been told that by their abusers. An abusive relationship it's all about control and manipulation, and that is absolutely what it is. That is a big theme of the book that I referenced earlier. People, including professionals who help abusers or work with abusers who are mandated to go to courses like anger management, often give abusers a pass. You know, it's, well, the person's an alcoholic, or the person is crazy, or the person just lost it. No. What happens with an abuser is an abuser makes a choice to do what he does. And I'll use he and she, but remember, anyone can be a victim or a survivor or an abuser. Some of the examples that are in the book are things like an abuser says he loses control, and when Mr. Bancroft starts working with him and speaking with him, say, well, I just lost it, I snapped. And speaking to the victim, well, yes, things were picked up and thrown against the wall and smashed. So his question was, now tell me, when the things get destroyed in the house, whose are they? Are they yours? Are they his? Or are they both of yours? And the victim thought about it for a moment and said, well, it's always my stuff. Now, that shows thought and planning, does it not? Yeah. That's a choice that a person makes. And guess who does the cleanup? The victim does the cleanup. And so there are examples like that he has accumulated with his experience over the years, and trying to help people understand that abusers are making choices, and really the only thing that will stop an abuser from making the choices to manipulate and control the partner is for that abuser to absolutely take control of and want to change their own lives. They cannot be fixed. Victims often do love their partners in spite of the abuse. Many people think that abuse is only physical. That is a piece of it, but much of the abuse that goes on is not physical. It's emotional. It's financial. There's control. The person who's the victim may have a job, but doesn't control their own money or have a bank account. Many times abusers ruin their credit. They use their credit cards at will. They get loans. A lot of that is to control the situation, because if there's no good credit record, then the victim can't take off and get an apartment or get their own vehicle. We actually had fairly recently a person who came to us for help, and she did have a vehicle, but it wasn't in running condition, and often that's the case too. They're not maintained well. And in this particular case, the abuser had taken the engine apart. The pieces were in the garage. So we have a couple of really great folks at local auto shops who said, I'm happy to fix it, and they help us out. He said, you know, it's going to be interesting. Are all the pieces going to be there? You know, that was the question. Well, fortunately, all the pieces were there, and he was able to reassemble it and get the vehicle working. But those are the kinds of things that a victim experiences every single day. They they walk on eggshells. They try to follow the rules because they know that the situation can escalate at any time. Now, many people, being well-meaning, will often tell a victim, you just need to leave. Many people get tired of saying to their friend or their family member, look, I know what's going on, you need to leave. And they say it again and again and again. And then they get frustrated because the person doesn't leave. Well, the very most dangerous thing that a person can do is just leave and walk away, because when that power and control breaks, then the situation is going to escalate, and those are the stories that you read about in the paper. So a person needs to have a safety plan. That's one of the things that we do at C.A.R.E when the individual calls in. And we begin, our immediate crisis, what's your situation? They can have a plan that may take a few months. They might have a way that they could put a little bit of money aside, or they're going to work on getting documents for the children, like the birth certificates, shot records, information that they need to take, because another thing that an abuser will do is destroy those kind of documents or hold those documents over an abuser so they don't have the ability to leave. Again, it's the control. So safety planning is a key component to what we do with helping a person get ready to leave. Now, another thing that victims are, they love their partners in many cases. In some cases, the love may not be there anymore, but they are tied because of children. And think about our community with a lot of older folks like myself, pets. Pets can be threatened as well, and that ties an individual to the abuser. So it's very, very difficult to decide to make that leap. And what am I going to do, and how am I going to do it, and how is everything going to work out? So it's very frightening. And again, many victims don't see themselves as victims. They've been told it's their fault, that they created their own situation, and they believe that. One of the things that a victim is very good at doing as well is trying to serve as a buffer, if you will, if they're children or pets. Now, often a threat to a child or a pet is what causes the victim to go ahead and make the decision to leave. But again, it's a very frightening situation. How am I going to be able to make it? What am I going to do? Is the person going to come after me? All of those things have to be considered. Now, an abuser likes to put out a very positive image in the community, usually. You don't hear stories about an abuser who's abusing his partner, doesn't abuse his minister, doesn't punch his boss in the face when he gets upset about something. His golf buddies, they see a totally good side of him. It's a very calculated role that individual plays. And so they're also very good when law enforcement is called in situations where there are physical issues, trying to make themselves look like a victim. They will sometimes, if a victim hits back or scratches back and there's a mark on their arm or something, oh, well, look what she did. I'm the victim. And that victim gets arrested. That actually happens. They're very good too at looking calm and collected while making the victim look like, well, she's crazy. Look at her. She's a mess. She's emotional. Perfect example, and I know we saw this on TV way too many times, but for people like me, and I saw it the first time, I knew exactly what was happening, and I was very upset with the police in Moab over the Gabby Petito situation. That call that went in to 911 specifically said the gentleman slapped the girl. That's what the person reported. Yet, he's standing there calm. She was all upset because there had been an argument. She scratched at him. She was upset she did that. And at least in that situation, she did not get arrested. But they did separate them for the night. That's all that they did. That was a classic situation of an abuser trying to make the victim look like an abuser. It was very frustrating when we saw that. So, the best thing that you can do if there are people that you know and care about is to encourage them and don't get frustrated with them when it's hard for them to make a decision to call for help. Because they need somebody to believe in them. They need somebody to help give them a little bit of support. I know this is a bad situation that you're in, and I know this is a hard decision, but you need some help. I can't help you. But you know, the people at C.A.R.E, they could help you. You can call, you can text, you can chat online. There's a lot of alternatives for communication. It doesn't have to just be on a phone. And so we encourage people to, think twice, don't be judgmental. I was thinking about the words to use today and, not being judgmental. And that's one of the things that I'm impressed with here. You have such an interesting mix of people and from everywhere. And, why do we want to be out in our world and be judgmental? Why not be supportive? How hard is that? Be respectful of other people and understand what boundaries are. And part of our role too as parents and grandparents, how do we teach our children about boundaries and respect for other people? And why do we teach young boys that aggression is a way to be successful? And if you get hurt when you're playing a sport and you're a boy, you're not supposed to cry. Well, if you get hurt, you cry. You're a kid. That's what you do. But that's not manly. So, teaching little girls in 3rd grade and the guy pulls your hair or punches you in the arm, well, that just means he likes you. So all of those roles that we reinforce, not intending to, I'd like to see us all think a lot about that. And one of the things that I love about the community here, and we do some work with human trafficking, is the grandparents are the people who are talking to the young kids about trafficking and being careful. It's a conversation they're not comfortable having with their parents, but there's a lot of informed grandparents in this county, and they're sharing a lot of information, and that is a wonderful gift for those children to be able to get that information from people that they know and care about, because there are predators out there looking for them between the ages right now, typically between 9 and about 15, 16. So that's a whole other subject there. When we help an individual at our facility, everything that we do for the individual based on their needs once the crisis has passed. So they could be getting services through our economic justice program. They might be learning how to manage a checkbook because they've never had a bank account. They are going to get some help filling out applications and resumes and practicing for interviews because they may not have had a job ever or in a long time. There are a lot of things that we are doing with the individual to help get them ready to transition to successful independence in their lives. Everything that happens at C.A.R.E is free of cost to the individuals that we are helping. The reasons for that are twofold. We have a great executive director, and she and her team bring in great grants from victim services sources to provide them with very specific treatment, counseling, therapy if needed, housing, food, the basics. The other things that we need and want to provide for our individuals, the very generous community support that we receive helps us do that with what we call the unrestricted funds that allow us to fix a vehicle, that allow us to replace 4 birth certificates and a driver's license and all of those things that people need to go forward in their lives. So we are really, really fortunate. When I first started with our budget, I'm thinking it was somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $600,000 or $700,000 a year, and now we're about $1.89 million. And so a lot of the grant funds that come in, we're able to we get some small support from the county and from the city of Punta Gorda, but then we can use that as a match, which is very helpful to us. So we bring in a lot of services to help the people that are living here who need our services. So always know there's always someone there. It's 24/7. We always have a human being answering the phone. Always there'll be that person every day of the year, doesn't matter, holidays, anything. We also have folks who, both volunteers and staff members, who do what we call hospital response. Those are individuals who go to a hospital when a person who's either a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault is in a hospital and needs support. If a person has been raped, in the state of Florida, you have 90 days in which to decide whether to go to law enforcement about that and make a complaint. But when it happens, if you don't go to the hospital and get a forensic exam, there's no evidence. So an advocate helps an individual through this. It's an invasive process. It's degrading. You're coming off of a trauma. So, it's a difficult situation, but it's something that needs to be done if you're thinking about making a complaint with law enforcement. And I won't even go into the statistics on that. The people who don't report, the ones who do, and how little gets prosecuted and how even less get convicted. So that's another challenge for how people look at victims of sexual assault in our community and in our world. I'm really proud to be able to represent C.A.R.E because it really is a safe haven. It's an oasis for help. We can help people in a crisis. We can help them begin to plan to do something different with their lives and to help them find a path forward. We have support groups. We have therapy available. We have a variety of other resources depending on each individual's needs. The biggest challenges are transportation. We don't have public transportation in our community. And of course, housing. Housing has always been an issue, but even more so now with the storm. Finding places to rent and rents that are affordable, very, very difficult. So we do a lot of work trying to get people connected with resources for that. We do have a transition house that we built around 2000, and that is a 3-bedroom home that a family that has been recovering, if you will, from the trauma of the abuse in their family's life can live there for 18 to 24 months rent-free. And what they do is work on education or work their jobs, save money, and get ready to transition to their own homes at the close of that period. So that's another service, but that's for an individual who is pretty far along in their journey, if you will, from the abuser. So if you would think about, just for the future, if you encounter someone or you think you know someone who's being abused, don't judge the individual. Believe what they tell them. Tell them you're sorry that they're experiencing whatever it is that they're experiencing, and encourage them to get help from the people that are there to help them. And be supportive, and also help people understand respect. Abusers don't respect anyone, and they think that they're right. They think that they have the right to give rules to people and have people live the way they choose to have them live. But be open-minded, let people live, be happy. I loved your message this morning. It was very nice, and it made me feel very good and very calm to be here. And I appreciated that very much. So thank you all. I know that you have supported us in the past. I know some of your members do, and we are very, very grateful. And again, our 40 years, we're very proud that we're able to do what we do. And if I could work myself out of a job, I would love to do that. But as long as I'm around, I'm going to keep doing the work that I do with C.A.R.E because it fills me with a great deal of pleasure to be able to help. And I'm proud to be able to say that I work there and that I care for victims. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Linda. Our community is fortunate to have an organization such as C.A.R.E. Linda has shared some information, some resources. There are these out on the table in the fellowship hall. And she also shared some resources online, which I have shared with Mary Jane, and she will share with us perhaps in the weekly update. Besides the kindness we can provide that Linda suggested to people, today is the second Sunday, so after we take our usual offering, we'll follow that with the second offering which will support C.A.R.E. If you're here for the first time, please feel no obligation to give. Your gift here with us this morning is enough. The offering words were written by Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lynn, Massachusetts. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support the self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. I have some announcements for the life of the community. You might notice that we're starting our repairs from Hurricane Ian, and I'm happy to report there's no mold in the north wall. You'll notice some other repairs being fixed. Thank you, Laura, for making the arrangements for doing that. The next meeting of the Social Justice Committee will be held today. It's a hybrid meeting in the social hall as well as on the universal sign-in on Zoom. It'll be held after the service, 11:45. You are reminded that new officers for SJC are being sought to assume duties April 1. Chair, vice chair, and treasurer are needed. If you're interested in any of these positions, please attend the meeting of March 12 for nominations and the election process. SJC is an open committee, meaning any member or friend may run for office and participate actively in its function. We need people to sign up for more to make coffee. There's a sign-up sheet in the hallway. Next Saturday, on January 14 at 9:30, there will be a Who Are UU's meet and greet breakfast in the social hall. If you're interested in becoming a new member or interested in just learning about us, you're welcome to come. There will be a time to find out more about this fellowship and the Unitarian Universalist Association and ask questions. For people who are interested in membership, this would be a good opportunity, and please talk to Jackie after the service. This is from Kay. Are you ready for an auction? No more Zoom auctions. It's time to have a real auction. Fun, food, and funds all in one. We have a date, February 18, 2023. We have a time, 4:30 p.m. We will have hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and a dessert competition. There will be a live auction and a silent auction. The silent auction will be all online. Are you in? We need a few intrepid souls to help organize. This is a short-term commitment with a big return. Minimal meeting time. She thinks we don't like meetings. Please consider joining. Contact C.A.R.E. In the meanwhile, put your thinking caps on and decide what you can offer in the auction. Services are great, dinners are wonderful, and can be handled in many ways. In your home, delivered to the bidder's home, at a park, with lots of people, or just a few. Are you an expert in anything? Give lessons, tours of local spots. Let your imagination run wild. Offer items throughout the year. Remember, if you live here full-time, consider how many of you are also here and schedule events for the summer. If you don't feel like you can do something yourself, consider going out and getting gift cards from local businesses to auction off. Also, please contact Kate if you are willing to enter a baked good for the dessert competition. As it has been for a number of years now, use the auction website www.peoplecomingtogether.net. Have fun, help the fellowship, call now. Well, not right now, but in a little bit. And I'd like to invite Linda up for another announcement.
Good morning. Do, re, mi, and all of those people, and Jim would love to have you come and sing with us in the choir. When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I couldn't sing because of something that a teacher said to me. Well, if some of you were here on Christmas Eve, you know that I sang in front of a lot of people, a solo. So if you think you can't sing, there's a good chance that you probably can. There will be these sheets on the back table in the back of the sanctuary next to the Red Book, and they say, are you interested in singing? We have a seat for you. Rehearsals are Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and on Sundays at 9:30 we do our warm-ups. And we would love to have more members of the choir. You can circle your preference of the section, what you feel your voice can do. Jim can help you to discover what area you can sing in. But we would love to have more people come sing with us. And if you would like to, you can fill these out, include your email, and then you'll get on the mailing list and you'll get all the fun messages from me. Himes.music@comcast.net, and they'll all say UU Choir on them. So you're invited. fill one of these out and you'll get the email from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. They sound pretty good these days, don't you think? And now, please rise in body or spirit and join our wonderful choir in singing hymn 1020 in the Teal hymnal, Wo Ya Ya. Our closing words are also by the Reverend Scott Taylor. Home is always waiting. When the weight of the world tips us over, when the winds of the world leave us spinning, when the voices of the world lead us astray, may we remember that here, home is always waiting, with stillness to calm us, friends to anchor us, and voices to help us find our way. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice as Linda comes up to extinguish ours. The words are in the order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of love. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace.